Welcome, everybody. We're back to the Gamble of Glaziers, Glazier Gamble podcast. And as you can see, or maybe not see, we have some superhero topics to cover. It might not seem like there's a lot of news, but there has been. No, it's not going to be about DC this week, so apologies, but we have pride ourselves on covering DC more than the
We
average
probably
person.
will. Probably will. We will probably fairly shortly. Shazam premieres tomorrow.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll make it about DC next week.
So, first topic, Mason Gooding. He is somebody that has been rumored to potentially be playing Human Torch. I'm not super familiar with him, to be honest. However, he has done nothing but fuel the fires that he is going to be playing the Human Torch, because he posted on Instagram holding a lighter and said "flame on," as the kids say.
Sure.
Looks wise, I think he looks great. I think he could play Human Torch. I thought they were gonna go younger. He looks like he's slightly older than what they said. He doesn't look old, but he looks slightly
not
older
like
than what they
Peter
said.
Parker's college,
right. He looks
college.
like he's graduated from college. Like he's older than college age.
Right.
So outside of that, I think he has the part. He definitely looks muscular enough. He definitely just basically looks good. Looks like he fits the part. I haven't really seen him in much, but definitely
kind of
not what I expected.
Just
in
to add
terms of age.
some stuff in. He doesn't look like a typical Johnny Torch, right? Like blonde hair, blonde hair, white complexion, whatever you want to say. But take it back. We just weren't talking about DC, but James Gunn got some flack for his Guardians of the Galaxy casting, Chiwetel Ejiofor or whatever, for the High Evolutionary, and they're like, they just like black casted him or whatever.
Right.
So I'm just gonna preface this with, if Mason Gooding doesn't look the part of a typical Johnny Storm, it doesn't matter as long as it goes to the best actor. So it doesn't matter what they look like. I mean, you can be like, well, Samuel L. Jackson doesn't look like comic Nick Fury, but obviously
he made a better version.
Jackson, right, was the right choice for the job. So
yeah, he's better than Nick Fury than any like games I've played.
And then they also retconned the comics, and now Nick Fury looks like Samuel L. Jackson. So
yeah, because he was that good. And they picked the right person. Which this kind of reminds me, a little separate topic here. I saw a lot of people saying that Marvel needs to take after The Last of Us. It's been such a successful show. And it was basically a 1-to-1 adaptation, or at least a lot of people say it was very, very close compared to most things.
Sure.
And they've been saying that this is why Marvel needs to, not race swap, not gender swap, not because look at when you go peer to the comics, peer to the source material, everybody loves it. It's just not true. You have Pedro Pascal,
right?
Who, like, awesome actor,
right? He's blowing up right now. He also put his name in the hat to be like, yeah, I would love to do a Marvel project. So just throwing it out there, Marvel.
He's already in touch with Disney,
right?
And then I'm Bella Williams. Is that her name?
Bella Ramsey.
Bella Ramsey.
Yep.
She also has been killing it. So it's like, it doesn't matter that they look like the characters. That's just a bonus.
Right.
Like, the acting is what came first. I really hate the idea we have to cast on looks first. Right. Because that's totally not what they did.
Both Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey were both in Game of Thrones, and they had pretty significant roles. They're pretty sure they both get brutally murdered, but that's the nature of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Right. So I always think acting chops should come before the role.
Right. Like, if you narrow it down to 5 people, and you think, like, if they're doing all these auditions, all these castings, and they're narrowed down to 5 separate people,
sure,
and it's 5 different people of different races, different ages, and all of them seem to be right on the money for you, like, acting wise, then that's up to you to make the choice on how you want the character to look visually. That's
sure.
If there's somebody that looks like they look in the comics, that probably gives them a slight advantage. But if you have an idea like, oh, I wanted to make this change to this character, and actually hiring somebody from this part of the world would make more sense for what I want to do with this character.
Sure.
So maybe we switch the character up and they don't look like the comics.
Sure.
But your last choice should to get to that point, to deciding between those final people, should be acting up to that point. If you're going all of those 5, and then you're telling me that one of them is a way better actor than the other 4, who cares what they look like?
Right.
Pick them.
Right.
You got them to this point, doesn't matter. Then that person who looks like the character from the comics, that 100%. Advantage goes away.
Right.
So that should be. So I get the people love The Last of Us and they think Marvel should do that just because The Last of Us was successful. But if Marvel did that, you would complain about the movie when you went and saw it.
Right. To put it into perspective of another show that was straight from a comic that that is getting a lot of comparisons with The Last of Us, it's Walking Dead.
Yep.
So Walking Dead, if Walking Dead stayed true to the comics, you would know every single thing that was going to happen. And so for the Last of Us to have such a successful first season and stay very true to the comics, I'm pretty sure they've already stated that season 2 is going to be different than The Last of Us Part 2, because I mean the main factor in my mind is like, I know that I've never played The Last of Us games, but I know that Joel dies in The Last of Us Part 2. And so I was like, as soon as you kill Pedro Pascal off, the ratings are probably going to plummet. So like you have to try to change the story, much like Walking Dead did. And Walking Dead did make some questionable decisions, just like Marvel makes some questionable decisions, or DC or whatever. And try to find a story that makes sense without completely ruining what makes the show special.
But part of those changes also is what keeps the shows intriguing. Like you said, you don't want to know everything. At a time when Daryl is supposed to die, you kill Glenn. Or at a time when Hawkeye would have died in the comics and you killed Quicksilver.
Right.
Switching stuff up adds the shock. Like, that character's gonna die. You expect it. You've settled. You're in your brain. You're already finished with it. Like, okay, he's gonna die. She's gonna die. Somebody else dies, and then you have to go through that entire remorse again, which makes it better as an experience.
Sure. And like just the fact that like The Walking Dead from the first season, like the first season had a ton of success, and they just added characters that were never in the comics. Like Daryl Dixon never existed in the comics. So like they just added a character that was an insane actor. Like he auditioned, I believe he auditioned for Rick. So I think he auditioned for Rick, didn't get Rick, but they're like, you're so good that we need you to be a part of the show. And so,
and to go, like, we're going tangent to tangent to tangent. One last tangent I have, another show that did that was The Office.
Sure.
3 or 4 different characters are confirmed by the creators of the show. Were not originally planned in the script. When they auditioned, they said, we're going to create a character for you, including the main cast. Like Jim and Pam were supposed to be different. And then like Phyllis was a writer on the show. And they were like, we have to give you a part because you're so good. You're so funny. Gave her a part. Phyllis is one of the fan favorites of a lot of viewers. So it's just,
I'm pretty sure she's like a starring role in like the OA too. The actress that plays Phyllis.
She's the voice of Sadness in Pixar's Inside Out.
Maybe. I think if I'm thinking of the same person, I think she got another gig on like Netflix for a couple of seasons too. So
interesting.
Yeah.
But all this to say, Mason Gooding, no matter what you think, if he's not what you wanted, he's not your Aryan superior looking thing that you are desiring. Who cares? Like if that's who they end up going with, if this could all just be one big little cock tease, it's fine. But if it's not, and that's who ends up being Human Torch, wait your judgment. Who cares? Just like Ariel, let's hold off our judgment until we see it. Because I don't know about you, because those trailers, she sounds great.
Yeah,
doesn't look tremendous in my opinion. Like the movie itself, I think she looks good for her part. She sounds great. But the movie overall, like I don't like the look of Sebastian, a few other things. But like, let's wait to hold our judgment till we hear and see these movies. So just because they switch it to what you like what you're imagining, imagine them in a different world. Like your favorite Human Torch is from this comic issue. You like it better than the movies. That's fine.
Sure.
But Mason Gooding, if that's cool, I think he looks great. We'll see.
Yep.
Another topic, another big name. No, speaking of super muscular and great in their roles, Jon Bernthal.
Yeah. This is huge news because like we got some teases throughout the week or for months now. And you know, with Daredevil Born Again starting up filming, you're gonna get probably different things. You're probably gonna be like girl who plays She-Hulk.
Tatiana Maslany
would be like, oh, Tatiana Maslany was down in Atlanta or wherever they're filming or whatever. Girl who plays Echo. God, I'm blanking on names. Jon Bernthal, like Vincent D'Onofrio, Charlie Cox. Like you see all these like teases about the show, but we finally got a confirmation that Jon Bernthal's Punisher will be back. So in what capacity? Like the Netflix universe is kind of canon. Like some of those things did happen to this Daredevil, but it's not all like fluid. It's not like this is Daredevil season 4 or whatever. So I'm sure the Punisher did some things in that Netflix show, and I'm sure those things happened in Daredevil, but it's going to be kind of like a revamp. So I'm very excited because he's very brutal, and it adds another wrinkle into this MCU universe that is going to have Moon Knight and Blade and Ghost Rider, hopefully. So
right. Well, and he's gonna. The thing about Punisher is he is brutal and R-rated. So one of the things people are questioning is that if it's not R-rated, will it feel as like good as the Punisher? First of all, Jon Bernthal is such a tremendous actor and trained in like Shakespeare. He's so good that it doesn't matter if it's R, PG-13, PG. He's gonna do a really good job. So will everybody else. If Tatiana Maslany's in it, her being rated R, I think, would make her even better. But she was still really good in 13.
Swear a little bit, like, and that's you could get some of those jokes, but yeah.
Well, and you know, if we could get She-Hulk to smash a dude's head, that'd be sweet.
Oh yeah.
But so whether or not you make it R could make it good. PG-13, that's fine too. So I'm not super concerned. I know a lot of people are thinking like, oh, with Jon Bernthal coming back, what does it mean? I still think it's going to be PG-13. I don't think they're going to go rated R. Not something on Disney Plus. I do not see it happening.
No, absolutely.
I would love it. I just don't see it.
I think there is a window for that, and I don't think we're there yet. But I do think there is a window coming. That's probably with Blade. That's probably with Deadpool. Maybe Moon Knight can ramp up a bit.
And if I saw correctly, they were potentially looking at purchasing the rights to Spawn.
So yeah, so all good things.
So those would all be R.
Yeah.
But with Jon Bernthal coming back, with Netflix being kind of canon, does that mean that Kang could potentially have to be involved in order to get the multiversal travel stuff in? Loki will think like other characters have to come in? Because me personally, what would set Daredevil from like people already have high expectations, but would make it like go from here to here for me is if seeing Daredevil on screen with a Loki or a Kang makes Daredevil feel real. Right. If you put like Daredevil with She-Hulk again, and you put Daredevil in with his like own villains and stuff, we don't really get to see the other ones. It still makes Daredevil feel like, oh, that's still kind of like part of like that Netflix universe.
I agree.
But
you want to see him in the big scope of things rather than the street level.
Even if it's just a hint in the finale, yes.
Sure.
Even if it's just like Kang showing up or Loki showing up in the season finale's credits.
Sure. So I get that because it's supposed to be a longer season, like 16 episodes, right? Mm-hmm. I think is what they said. And you don't want it to deal with Fisk the entire time. Right? You don't want 16 episodes of just him dealing with Kingpin. That's
right. And Kingpin shouldn't be, it doesn't feel small, but Kingpin shouldn't be so small that this is all we get to see him in either.
Right.
Kingpin should have people that help him and work for him and that he contacts. Like Kingpin should be able to hire another villain that we see.
Right. Yeah, he's very, very wealthy. He's very smart. So yeah, I agree. I agree with that too.
So I think Punisher coming in is nothing but positive, but it does raise the question of, does that mean that we're going to see Kang? Does that mean that we're going to see Loki? Because those universes feel separate now. So with John Bernthal coming into Daredevil, it doesn't make John Bernthal feel like, oh, that means John Bernthal's connected with like She-Hulk and more modern Marvel stuff. It makes Daredevil be like, oh, Daredevil's still kind of like behind and still attached to Netflix.
Yeah. You gotta make those connections
like
at some point.
Puppets.
You gotta make those connections at some point. Because like if you just bring in Echo, it's like that's still kind of the street level thing, right? And so like you're right. You got to see, and you saw you didn't see Daredevil with Spider-Man. You saw Matt Murdock with Spider-Man, which is the whole different category. You saw Matt Murdock in She-Hulk, and then you saw Daredevil in She-Hulk. But it's like it made that connection, but like there's bigger fists to fry. No, I agree. I think I hope we see him. I hope we see Daredevil in kind of a bigger project. I mean, looking at this list, Echo you might see him in, and I'd love to see him in Blade. I think him in Blade
Daredevil?
with like Daredevil. Yeah, I'd
I
love to see
wasn't sure if you meant
Daredevil.
Daredevil or Punisher.
Both. I don't like both of them. Like in Blade, dealing with vampires. Like you've got vampires using like echolocation or whatever. Then you got Daredevil using like echolocation or like his heightened senses. And then you just got Punisher just shooting a bunch of things. I don't know.
I also think you could see him in. I want them to develop like a hand series, preferably.
Sure.
Either that or no, or maybe like a Kingpin side thing. But that's what I would want to see him stretch into. You're also with Luke Cage working out, Jessica Jones working out, Iron Fist working out,
yeah.
With all of them working out, even wearing like the Daredevil shirt.
Yeah, she's totally coming back. I don't think she can convince you otherwise that she's not. She's just teasing.
With all of them coming back, there's clearly going to be more than just Daredevil.
Right.
Either that or the 16 episodes is going to be 16 episodes of crazy pace.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of story, a lot of background, a lot of connections that you have to make.
Right.
It's better to spread it out over multiple series.
Sure.
But as long as you think out the series.
Right. And they got some of the same people who wrote the Netflix shows too. So like they've got the chops for it. They just have to do it. Just do the damn thing. So
and then maybe by the time they make that second or third thing, maybe the time that Kingpin gets his own spinoff, or maybe by the time we get a true Defenders representation.
Sure.
Rated R will be regular by then. We'll see. That'd be
sweet. Yeah.
Before we jump into
that was the after show, wasn't it? I thought.
Yeah, that's the Glacier Gamble after dark.
Yeah, there you go. NSF Gamble is what it is. NSFW Gamble.
Yeah, we put the W in NSFW.
Yeah.
So we have one like theory, like idea topic, which will be regarding Kang. So stick around for that. We have one last little like rumor / like little bit of news that we wanted to talk about, which was that Sacha Baron Cohen has been rumored to be Mephisto, and like months ago it was rumored that he was going to be Mephisto.
Agatha Harkness, maybe like Ironheart, kind of that kind of magical side.
But now there's a potential Mephisto Plus or like Mephisto show series on Disney Plus.
There you go. Yeah.
I think a lot of people I saw somebody listed as Mephisto Plus, and I was like,
that's bold. That's a weird little thing. That's what they're going to change Disney Plus to.
Right, because he's going to break through the screen like She-Hulk, and everybody's going to love it.
Yeah. Right.
But Sacha Baron Cohen is incredible. So when he was announced that he was going to be cast, everybody was excited. And the fact that, new rock stars kind of made it viral, but a lot of other people were like, Mephisto.
Oh, yeah. Everything's Mephisto. Like, yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
So that's kind of created this hype for Mephisto that a lot of people didn't even know who Mephisto was until this hype built up. Like a lot of people were like, who's Mephisto? And now it's like, oh, I need Mephisto.
Right.
Because they told me I need Mephisto. Well, sounds like Sacha Baron Cohen, that's who he's going to play, which would be awesome.
Right.
Which would mean yes, I want him in Agatha. Yes, I want him in Doctor Strange 3. Yes, I want him
Ironheart.
in Ironheart. Yes, I
Right.
want him in his own series.
Right.
It's
Here's
another
this
villain
kind
that I
of
want to see in more than one project.
right. So here's how I see it. You don't want to take away from Kang, right? You don't want to take away from Kang through this whole thing. So what if you just make Mephisto like the bad guy for your like dark corner? You know what I mean? Like, because you don't necessarily have to like bring your dark corner into the Kang fight, I guess, because then you like know that like are the Avengers and the Young Avengers or whatever, they're trying to stop Kang and they're trying to stop like the world from ending. But like if the Dark Corner, like the Punishers, the Blades, the Black Knights, the if they're all stopping this other issue, you know that they're also trying to protect the world. Because like if Kang succeeds, then Kang's gonna control. But if they beat Kang and nobody stops this force, then it's like they just still lose. You know what I
Kind
mean?
of
Because they
like the
have
same
no
feeling that they had at the end of Ant-Man, where the villain was defeated, yet there's still this underlying fear of what could happen next.
right,
So even though
right.
Kang's defeated, you have this underlying knowledge that
Yeah,
it's still not over.
yeah. We didn't talk about the ending of Ant-Man all that much, but I've seen a couple breakdowns of that like final like when he gets back to reality, and it's like it's weird. Like he goes back to a world that like Kang's controlling, or like sent him to a world where like things are better than they seem, or something like that. It's really weird because everyone's wearing green and purple in the entire like he's walking down the street. There's a purple, green and purple. There's a baby with a stroller. That's green and purple. He's in the cafe. It's green and purple. It's everywhere, and so it makes me think like he's got sent back to some place that's like not. It makes him think he succeeded. I guess is it's
Gotcha.
trippy, but that's what I
Very
think. I
trippy.
think is what they should do with Mephisto is like save him for this darker corner, and then you can be kind of brutal and dark and twisted and scary.
Which Sacha Baron Cohen in that sort of role sounds terrifying.
Right.
And I definitely think he has to be involved in Doctor Strange 3.
Sure.
So you can't
Yeah, with
have
the
him really
dark
get
hold.
defeated in Agatha.
Yeah, that's what
Can't
I'm
and
saying.
so if he shows up there,
I think he's
they
like a
have to be
tease.
successful in some way. It has to be a tease.
Yeah. Like this underlying problem is here. This underlying thing that was
Which
like
makes sense for Mephisto, because that kind of sounds like an adaptation of an underlying mental illness,
sure.
or psychosis.
Right.
Mephisto is kind of like a physical representation in a way of that
Right.
sort of psychosis.
Right. And I
I
mean
think
like
that's
he's done
perfect.
a bunch of things where he like Peter Parker's made a deal with him to save Aunt May in regards to like his soul, or like him remember everyone remembering like I'm pretty sure that the deal he made with Strange to like wipe everyone's memory, I'm pretty sure he did that same thing, but it was with Mephisto to save Aunt May. Like he made a deal with Mephisto to wipe a memory from everyone to save Aunt May. I'm pretty sure that's how it went in the comics. But
Okay.
and then obviously we know that Wanda's kids are like parts of Mephisto's soul in the comics,
Mm-hmm.
which they never kind of did that adaptation. It was just all in her head. But yeah, I don't know. That'd be my play for a
Okay.
Mephisto. But I'm very excited. I think as soon as Sacha Baron Cohen was like rumored to be joining, I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yep. He is unironically one of the best actors of our lifetimes.
sure.
So to put him in Marvel and in a villain role, I think it's like Heath Ledger Joker. And
Right.
obviously you hate comparing that sort of thing because he's so loved by fans. But that Heath Ledger was one of the best actors of his time.
Sure.
To put him in a villain role where he can just truly envelop what they want to
Right.
be, it's
Like
terrifying. It's
Willem Dafoe.
amazing.
Willem
Willem
Dafoe with
Dafoe.
right.
It's like like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. Like
Right.
I feel like it's that potential of if they nail it in the writing, which again, Sacha Baron Cohen should be able to help.
right.
If they nail it with that, I think it's totally a chance that it could be one of the most popular, if not the most popular villain we've seen on screen.
Sure.
We have one last topic for everybody, which is Kang from other universes. I'll let Joe take it away on this one to start out, and then
So
I'll.
I was just thinking, so outside of Loki season 2, and then obviously Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. I didn't finish that S for Star Wars.
Secret War.
Where are we gonna see Kang next? Because it can't just be Loki season 2. Like Loki season 2 is gonna deal with Victor Timely, which is another Kang variant that obviously has a big presence. But where else are you gonna see Kang show up? And so looking at all of these, I don't see many ways he could show up besides like all of the phase 6 stuff, which is right now Deadpool 3.
Okay.
Because they're gonna deal with those probably those armband, like the time machine bands that Cable had or that
Yeah.
Deadpool was using to go mess
And
up
with
timelines.
Wolverine coming in, there's a potential
Right.
chance of
Yeah.
timeline mixing.
Right. And then maybe Fantastic Four, just because Nathaniel Richards is a direct descendant of Reed Richards. So yeah, those are the only things I really see Kang coming in, and I don't know how that is going to impact things. So
we talked about it already. He could easily be brought into Daredevil.
sure.
He is going to be in Loki season 2. Pretty much, like, it's confirmed. That was what the credit scene of Ant-Man, one of them was supposed to be about, was that Loki season 2 will have Kang in it.
Oh, Moon Knight season 2 possibly could too.
Moon Knight season 2 is one of the rumors. So I think it's the opposite. I think we're going to see him in everything. Even if it's just a little bit, like even if it's just a little credit scene, even if it's just little hints in the background where like people like us and other people on the internet have to look for them and find these Easter eggs and stuff.
Yeah, because in Moon Knight season 1, there was a photo of like Pharaoh Ramatut, like,
which is a version of Kang for those,
which is the one we saw at the end, one of the big 3, I guess, Kangs. But
so I think he's gonna be in absolutely everything. Like I think
just little
like what's
Easter
the next
eggs
thing that's coming out? Is it the Marvels or is it
so we got Guardians?
Oh, Guardians.
And maybe Secret Invasion before that.
I think he's going to pop up somewhere in Guardians, or at least a mention of him will be there. I think Secret Invasion, even if it's not big, I think from now on, and maybe it's just because that's what I want, because that's how I want Kang to feel like he's always present.
He's
because
always
He
there.
Who Remains was always present.
Right.
Like, I either want that feeling, or I don't know. I feel like Kang should be there. Maybe he won't be in Guardians because they don't want to, maybe they don't want to do that because they don't want to take away from the other villains that are in the movies.
Sure.
So maybe it is mainly just credit scenes, but I don't know. I think I would put him in everything. I would absolutely have him everywhere.
Do you think he'll be in Deadpool 3?
I don't, but I would put him in it, but I just,
do you think
I just said I think he'll be in everything.
Do you think the TVA will be in Deadpool 3?
I think that's more of it. It's either the TVA or Kang.
Right. Okay. Because if the TVA is in, you could, like, if you argue the TVA is in Deadpool 3, you could argue that Kang is in Deadpool 3 because Kang created the TVA.
So even if Kang is not in Deadpool 3, I think Jonathan Majors will be in Deadpool 3.
Sure. Okay. Because I swear there was a rumor where, like,
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Jonathan Majors as his character from Creed. That's when I think Deadpool.
Okay. Right. You think of something wonky?
I think of something weird. Like, you have Jonathan Majors there, and people are like, wait, is that supposed to be a version of Kang? And then it's like, or is that just supposed to be a fourth wall break Jonathan Majors thing?
Right.
Let that go. Like,
so apparently I saw this as a brief rumor that Owen Wilson might be in Deadpool 3 as Mobius. And if that's the case, then we're probably are getting the TVA.
Mobius seems like he'd be a target of Kang. So I feel like anywhere you see Mobius go, Kang's probably not too far behind.
Right. Because, I mean, how I guess I see it is like Renslayer is still on Kang's side, whereas like Loki and Mobius turns out are usually not on Kang's side. Like, that's probably going to, like, if all Kangs want to rule the universe, or all all Scott Lang's are Ant-Man's, besides like the few variables where there's like just the Baskin Robbins Scott Lang, right? Then probably all Mobiuses will probably defect and not be on Kang's side at some point. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Well, there's only one Mobius, right?
Well, no.
I guess.
No, because Loki went to a different timeline and that Mobius didn't know who he was.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So
it's true.
Yeah, unless he's a Nexus being. Nexus being
Mobius.
I
guess. Nexus being Mobius.
Wow, he's riding the jet
I wonder how
around.
like Celestials and those sorts of beings feel about Kang.
So there was a rumor that like he replaced Eternity as like in the final room where like Thor Love. This is a stretch. In the final room, Thor Love and Thunder, that was one of the beings on the wall was Eternity, but now Eternity is technically in like love, like a child born through Eternity. So maybe Eternity doesn't exist anymore, and now one of these like big like beings is Kang. I don't know. I don't think he doesn't feel powerful enough to like threaten
They described
incredible
him as
things. Like
everything is just technologies that is his technology is so advanced that you go 1,000 years in the future and they're starting to develop the technology that would put you into the future to get like he's so far advanced. Like he's 2,000, the farthest advanced you can think of, he's 2,000 years beyond that.
Right.
So that still tells me like, oh, it's still just technology.
Right.
Like as powerful being like a Celestial should still be able to just be done with him.
Yeah.
Still, they have to make Kang seem bigger than what he is so far, whether it's killing people, whether it's developing more supernatural powers, putting in everything.
Do you think we'll get a Kang versus Thanos thing?
No.
At some point.
I don't think Thanos is ever coming back.
Sure.
Thanos is one of those things you've done him so well that if you bring him back and make it bad at all, it's going to hurt the rest of it. So you'd be better safe than sorry and just leaving Thanos as is. Thane for sure could make an appearance at some point in the future, but I don't think Thanos. So
just
like
references,
Thanos might get mentioned, but just reference. I don't think you ever. That's how I feel about people that want to bring Robert Downey Jr. and like Chris Evans back, which they made a comment recently that Chris Evans is probably going to be coming back in a future project. So they were like, keep an eye out for
Secret Wars, like Secret Wars. That's the only one I want them back in.
Right.
Is Secret Wars is pulling those characters from a different universe that are still alive. So you can see them one last time as they try to fight for their universes or fight for our universes or something. But
Falcon's getting his own Captain America movie, right?
It is Captain America: New World Order. Yeah.
He could show up there for sure.
Yeah, if he's still alive, if Cap is still alive.
Anthony Mackie in an interview said Cap ain't dead.
Right. So I'm really excited for that one because of the leader, but yeah.
So I could see Kang showing up there as well.
Sure.
I could see Wilson Fisk showing up in that.
Dude, okay. You know at the end of Endgame, when this is wild. I don't know if we have enough time to talk about it, so I'm gonna spit it out really quick.
4 minutes.
All right. So when Captain America went back in time to deliver all the stones, okay, if you look at his outfit, he has the little clicker thing, and it's the mask. It looks like an Ant-Man mask. Okay. So here's where I'm going with this. He was returning Mjolnir to the timeline. So when Kang was like, "Hey man, are you the one with the hammer?" Chris Evans going through time, it looks like Ant-Man with a hammer.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Someone said that, and I was like, I can see it. Like, I can see it.
That seems like one of those ones the writers wouldn't have thought of, but now that a fan pointed that out and caught it, they're like, oh yeah, we thought of that.
Yeah,
that's why we did it.
The helmet was like just like Ant-Man's is. It's like
yeah.
And then he's got the hammer. It's white and red.
Oh, he's got the hammer.
Yeah. Oh.
No, the one with the hammer is you, Kang.
Right. Ask Janet.
Yeah, they for sure. They definitely. I don't know a good word. They boinked.
Right.
But yeah, that's all we got for topics today.
They rode the timeline, that's for sure.
Oh, They split some timelines.
Oh, man.
I hope you all enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. For those of you that are new to the channel, thank you so much. Yeah, share, follow, all the things. Double tap the screen if this is a short, and it'll like the short.
Yeah, if you don't even know what you're doing, just click on stuff too. That might work.
Yeah, sometimes it might give you a virus. Sometimes it might be good. We'll see. We'll find out. You all look great today. GG.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. Have no regrets, yeah, I'll tie up my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt.